don't get too dragged into the news because you got to live your everyday life anyway. So live for today. Plan your best for tomorrow, and don't worry about so much of the past. Just make the best of every day, because that's what we got. You got one shot at this. Enjoy it, right?
I guess I would say, stay informed. What's going on out there. It's really depressing, to me, to like look at the news and stuff a lot of times and just see how people act or talk to each other or things like that. It's sad to me, but like Terry said, you gotta still enjoy your life and do what you can. Every little victory is a step forward. Mm-hmm. So hopefully a lot of the country wakes up soon, or the world even, and to what's going to
stay informed while managing your mental health.
Just kind of echo a little, what they're saying, too, is, taking things day by day. I do enjoy seeing what's happening in the news, and there's a lot of stuff, with AI, conversations, everything. And, I've kind of got my own personal situation, too, of navigating work and it's, I've kind of been living in a challenging times, feeling it and stuff, myself and stuff. And so, waking up and fighting, kind of, every day, and just, giving yourself a chance and some hope,
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters on That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And today we'll have special guests from New Hampshire. We got our boys, Terry and Dave. How are you boys doing today?
Good, how you doing?
Not too bad. And I guess just to fill in the audience, which part of New Hampshire are you guys hailing from?
Nashua.
How do you spell that? Is it? I almost sound like you're trying to say like Nashville or something.
Yeah, Nashua, New Hampshire. Close to the border to Massachusetts.
Okay.
Here comes Jim. The drummer.
Jimmy's the drummer. How you doing today?
Yeah. Better backdrop that we got.
That's where the magic happens there.
That's for sure. And to fill the audience, these guys are actually part of the group November Fire. So, I guess probably filling the audience. I guess you guys got any new material recently, or any shows lined up for this year?
Well, we just released a single May 8th. First single on our album coming up hopefully by the October time frame, called Doom Blues. We got another single coming up hopefully August 8th-ish, August 1st-ish, title track from the album Doom Blues. So yeah, we're in the middle of trying to roll out a new album right now.
That's good to hear. But I guess we'll go jump into some of the questions, because I'm actually curious to know about November Fire and even, I guess, how you guys became musicians. So I guess we'll start there. I guess how do we want to do this? Do we want to do it based on seniority, or do we want to do Terry, Dave, and Jim?
I can start babbling, and these guys can fill in a bit.
Sure,
All
sounds
right. In that case, Terry, I guess fill in the audience about your backstory, about how you became a musician, first off.
Well, I don't know. I met Dave around, I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
So we've been best friends for a very long time. It wasn't too long after that, a few years after that, we started, screaming into a tape recorder, making stuff up, kind of like, we weren't really a band yet, but we had a great time screaming stories into the recorder and making things up. But eventually we, 1990-ish, 91-ish, he went off to UMass Amherst and learned how to play guitar. For real. Instead of just going, ee! Making lots of noise.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, then we started to get together and started to want to actually play some music.
So yeah, I started writing real riffs and things like that, and we played with our friend Matt, who played bass, and Terry just sang for a bit and wrote lyrics and stuff, and we jammed with a drummer once and a few times, but eventually we kind of, summer ended and we all went off to college and things like that, so we kind of split apart. And then when we got back together, Matt was doing his own thing, and then Terry took over on the bass.
Yep, so 1991-ish, we started to play.
Yeah.
So we've been around since then. We've been Never on Fire since then. So I don't know if you want to hear the story about how we came up with the band name, but back senior year in high school, we were kind of looking for a name, and I had this cassette headphone thing going on, and I came across the album Samhain, November Coming Fire. And I was obsessed with that album. I would just walk around high school all day listening to this album. It was so dark, and it was just so cool, I thought. So I was like, oh, November, take the coming part out, and November Fire. That became our name. So it's been our name since like 1991.
Yeah, we loved a lot of stuff like Misfits and things like that too, and Black Flag, Slayer, but we also loved a lot of 70s stuff, so Grand Funk and Cream. We really loved Cream and things like that. This is before like there was no even like doom metal genre or anything, you know what I mean? So, you know, Black Sabbath, of course, and you know, the idea was after a while, like, whoa, what if Metallica? You sounded like Metallica, but you jammed. You know what I mean? And that was just sort of like our dream to make a band like that, or like a hardcore, old school hardcore band that like jammed. You know what I mean? Things like that. So
yeah. So yeah. I mean, I think that was a question you had later, but I just gonna weave that in there. It's like when I had my music epiphany, it was like 7th grade, junior high school, and there was a music class. No, I listened to some music, but they showed us the Woodstock movie. For like 2 days, we watched it, and I was like, oh my effing God, this is music. This is so friggin' amazing. So I sort of fell in love with music, the performance, the culture of music, and things like that. I was obsessed. So we listened to a lot of like 70s, 60s, 70s stuff early on. And then we transitioned into listening to like the Suicidal Tendencies, MOD, some of the DRI and hardcore stuff. A lot of the thrash metal in the 90s and stuff. So we kind of like
Sepultura.
So we had the very like 70s jam, sort of blues-based music that we really loved, and kind of a little more hardcore edge to it. And as we were starting to play in college and everything, we were jamming in like the sculpture room and stuff. We went to art school, Montserrat College of Art out in Beverly, Mass. So we would jam late at night after the classes were over. And the resident, we were all listening to the Grateful Dead at the time too, and had some friends that were in college that were into it.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Chris. He comes walking by while we're jamming, and he's like, "Hey, man, it sounds like heavy metal, Dead Space." And so it was like we're really it's like a psychedelic and jammy. So we combined the Grateful Dead with like Slayer. so that's where our sound sort of started to come from.
I guess the reason, actually, I was going to ask if your parents had any sort of help or I guess any influence in you guys picking up instruments, or was it kind of like just on your own?
Well, your dad played some guitar.
Yeah, Dad played some guitar.
He used to steal it and break the strings and make him mad.
Yeah.
But you know, he was definitely he turned us on to a lot of music like Cream and things like that. So he was definitely kind of influential to us.
Yeah.
You know, throwing us all old
that
albums.
throw on. You know, everything
like
Cream to Meatloaf to other things.
You know, my mom always loved music. She loved the Beatles. So like the Beatles were my first like music love. Like when I was 8 years old, and like when John Lennon was shot, and you know, that my interest really took off from there because it was everywhere. And yeah, so just music's always been everywhere around my house as well.
Yeah, and bass-wise, it wasn't exactly just because we needed a bass. I remember sitting as a junior high kid, sitting in high school when I was sitting there in the auditorium, and there was a couple of kids from high, they were like practicing their instruments, and this kid was playing like Iron Maiden on the bass. I'm like, that sounds so friggin' cool. So that's where my first click in my head was like, oh, bass is freaking cool. That, and then after like Cream, listening to Jack Bruce jam out on Cream and those long, you know, improvised jams, is like, oh man, bass is for me. So that's where that came from.
And Jim used to make drums out of pots, right, or cardboard boxes or something.
Yeah, that's how I started playing drums. Was with pencil sticks. You know, it just so happens that I have pencil sticks like right here, and yeah, used a bunch of tea cans and just set them up in my desk drawers and just started playing around. And I think I put some pennies inside one can to make myself a snare drum. I had a friend that did something similar, you know, and I made my own like little cymbals, you know, out of the cut tin can, you know, lids, and had some fun. And then my mother signed me up for drum lessons and started taking them. So That's where I was, about a junior in high school.
I guess, Jim, how'd you meet these handsome devils right here? They just found you one day on like a Craigslist ad or something?
No, so I've actually been working with Dave for a little over 20 years now. So we had a job together. We were both graphic designers, and we both had similar interests in music. And so, while you work, you listen to your headphones, and we started sharing some different music that that we didn't really commonly know. And so instead of like Metallica or Slayer, Dave introduced me to bands like Caius or Electric Wizard, and started getting into some more like desert rock or psychedelic rock. So just as they're saying, the combination of like what Grateful Dead and Slayer would be like together, just heavy metal that you could like really jam out to. So from time to time, we had gotten together and jammed. I played the drums and he played guitar, and we went to a concert together, and we pre-gamed, and we played and did a side thing. But he let me know a couple of years ago that he was getting back with Terry to reignite November Fire, and he asked me if I'd be willing to play drums on some tracks. So I did. And then, I let him know that I was moving away to Rochester, New York. And so
he was 20 minutes away. Now it's 6 hours. So
it is interesting, and I've seen Terry much more since I've moved than when I was like living closer to him. But I've been recording remotely. They would send me what they've recorded. And I'd listen to it and think about what I wanted to do, and then I would just get behind the set here, and we're both recording through the same software, and I would do my tracks and upload them, and Dave and Terry would put them together.
Yeah, it's crazy. The technology has really allowed us to move forward a lot than it did in the 90s. Let's say when. I had a Fostex 4-track, but it was like impossible to get any sort of decent sound on that thing, and just impossible. You couldn't do a whole band on that thing. You know what I mean? So you can make little demos and stuff. But now it's like so easy. Like you just need a laptop and an interface and a couple microphones and a good internet connection, I guess. Or a lot of Google Drive space, right? So you can just upload the folders. We just pass them around all the time.
Yeah.
And the tracks and stuff. And and we've been getting together too recently too, and playing and practicing live. So hopefully in the fall maybe or something, or maybe the summer we'll do a show. There's a little place down the street that does bands. So hoping to get in there at some point.
That's what's fun is being able to record, and you kind of we put our best stuff together, and then you listen to it and you play it and everything, and then it's fun when we get together. I've been able to play what we've put together. So
like we might have recorded the song already, and then released it, but it's like, this is the first time we're actually playing it as a group. You know what I mean? So
I saw an interview recently, and Kerry King of Slayer was talking about that. Sometimes he doesn't know what he wants to do for a solo, and he just kind of does it impromptu in the studio, and kind of goes at the take that he likes, and then he figures out how to play it later.
Yeah.
Repeat it. So so it's just been kind of fun that we've been able to get together recently live and and play our songs. So I'm trying to do more of that. It's a 6-hour commute for me.
But it's worth it.
Hey, we got a gig this weekend. Now it's 6 hours. No. Yeah. So to touch on the technology part again, back in the 90s and early 2000s when we were sort of playing a lot more before we started up again, we put together 3 demos. We'd have a show, have 20 people from about 3 miles away from us. It was really no way to get your music out there. And even 2004, it was like, whoa, 50 people showed up. Well, don't have a website really, you don't have the music online. You try to get them to get a demo or something, but you didn't really have it. But when we got started again, early 2020s, it was like, oh my God, we could started learning about the Doom charts and everything online, all those content creators and CD Baby, and you get it up and it goes on 200 platforms, and it's like you can be everywhere. Maybe you only get 20 people streaming you, but there's people listening to you in like Hong Kong and Singapore and Lisbon. It's freaking cool. There's no way that ever would have happened before. So technology wise, it's sort of like godsend for like small bands like us who just want to get their vision out there. So it's pretty amazing.
It's actually funny Jim actually mentioned about Kerry King, because I think in one of the interviews, if it was with Loudwire, he talked about the solo that he did, the song "Goddamn Electric" from Pantera. There, this was one at the end right there too. I think he just did. It took a one take, and Dive just like, "Don't do it again." So.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits. It was Kerry King one take backstage at Ozfest or something. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I like that song.
He actually did Beastie Boys too. He did. Did you know that? That he did.
That was another one. He did it.
I think he did or something.
Yeah. I guess one take backstage at Ozfest. So, and I remember seeing that in the credits. But yeah, I think we were saying what Beastie Boys, Rick Rubin recorded both License to Ill and Slayer's Rain and Blood like around the same time. So, he needed a guitar solo, and he just like went down to the next studio, and he grabbed Kerry King, and he was like, "Here, I need you to record something." So
the floor is yours, Senator. That whole deal. So, actually, it was funny with the name November Fire, because I was thinking more of Guns N' Roses' November Rain.
Yeah, we heard that a lot in the 90s.
Yeah, we used to get that a lot back in the day.
Yes, it was right around November Rain too when we came up with that. It's like, Guns N' Roses. It's Sam Hain.
Yeah, it used to kind of bug me, but
yeah,
now it's kind of old school, so nobody really says that too much anymore. But so yes, we used to get that a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I was a little. We recorded a song, 2025. And basically about the end of the world. And what it had like November Fire and stuff. And I'm just like, geez, it's going to be our calling, huh? The world's going to end in fire.
So apocalyptic vision in some of our songs, right?
Yeah, well, that one we wrote in 1991, the 2025 song that we released as a single last year. So it was one of our first songs we wrote way back then. It sounded so far in the future, you know what I mean? Like 2025, like, oh my God,
terrible. We're all gonna die by then.
Yeah, it was all a lot about like thinking about nuclear holocaust and things like that. That's what all Fresh fans were writing about back then and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but me and Terry used to always joke all the time, like I've always wanted to go to like Japan or something, and we'd be like, do it by 2025, and we'd always laugh or something, And then like in the fall of 2024, we're like, maybe we should release that kind of as a joke, you know what I mean? But
so I freshened up the lyrics to be more about sort of climate change and planet, blowing up around us, and so it's basically the same thing, but we didn't all come to die in 2025, but it's sort of the moral of the story kind of thing.
I mean, I'm looking at my calendar right now, so yeah, I see 2026. So
yeah, so we made it. Yeah,
we somehow made it. So yeah. I guess speaking of lyrics, because I checked out some of your songs, and those on Spotify. I gave you a follow there too.
Cool.
I guess first off, do you guys all have a hand in the lyric process, or is it just one of you guys who do the lyrics?
Terry does like 99.9% of the lyrics, so I'll let him speak.
Yeah. So yeah, I do most of the lyrics now. The other guys chip in. Earlier we had different lineups as we went along. So Dave would write some songs. Jeff Brisson, who was a guitarist for a few years, wrote a bunch of songs. But generally, I sing and do the lyrics. So Dave writes the riffs. I might help with some bridges here and there. Like, hey, what about this? But he writes like 99% of the riffs and the music. I write 99% of the lyrics. So, yeah.
And Jim does 100% of the drum work. So.
100%.
He does 100% of drum work. As jealous as I am, the drums seem like such a fun instrument, but not my calling.
Oh, it's fun. I might get like a click track, from them that has some cymbal crashes, in certain spots and stuff. And I'm like, it serves as some inspiration, but yeah.
Yeah, you should tell everybody about his process. He goes through the song and he's got all the notes about at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, I should do this. And then he's like a little scientist with his just mapping out his drum tracks. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're democratic too as well. We're just like, like I might write a riff, verse, chorus, bridge, but whatever these guys come up with too, Terry comes up with his own, all the vocal lyrics and the melodies, and Jim, the drum tracks, we don't give direction really. I like being surprised by the creativity, almost like, you know what I mean? So it's like, we're not like, oh, you got to play it like this, you know what I mean? Or you got to sing it like this, or, it's...
no Dave Mustaine here.
Just let everybody do what they do, because if you let people be creative in their creative space, we're all creative people, all three of us. So it's, you have a better product, because people will push it forward.
I'll give Dave an idea, like, oh, I should go like this. Like, do something like this right for the bridge, and then he comes up with something a little different, but it sounds great. It's like,
yeah. I mean, this actually
all of our inspirations is part of the fun part of the process.
Yeah.
I would used to have a ride in the lawnmower, and I'd plug in and spend like 2 hours or so riding across the lawn, just listening to their music and just being in the sun and just like thinking about like what I wanted to do, in the drums, So I would have like different ideas, and I might start off with just something like basic, that there's just like a certain beat that I just have in my head that I wanted to do. And then, once I get that foundation down, I then start like building around it stuff. I love, usually in a lot of our songs, there's a good section, of like structure to it, but then there's like a good jam session or so that kind of happens. And, it's fun. You can get really lost in playing as almost like that. We're all playing together live in person, and you can just really feel a groove and just settle into it. And it's kind of fun to just like wing it and just jam out and kind of do what comes natural and what really feels like it's fitting the song and complementing it. And just kind of develop it from there.
And I guess we don't think we're that weird, but we get called psychedelic. Was it Monuments and Ruins called us Bizarro Psych or something? Was it Monuments?
Something
like that. So we don't get that weird, but we do have a lot of like psychedelic sort of 60s and 70s influences, and I do a lot of like vocal tracks with backing and kind of like deep voices and sort of go back and forth. So and our jams can be a little psychedelic. The new album is going to be some really weird stuff during the jams. We're talking like, I don't know, just space madness stuff. So it'll be pretty cool.
It did seem like it was like a new genre. I was just saying like the little header on your Facebook page right there. It was like psychedelic sludge metal or something like that there too. I think that sounds correct.
Sludge, psychedelic dark sludge, doom sludge, psychedelic bizarro psych. It's like
weird metal,
ride and stuff. It's like lo-fi. It's just like I mean, I guess we are a little different. I don't think it's because we suck, but I think it's because we don't sound like anybody else. So these content creators are always trying to come up with ways to describe it, and it doesn't really fit anywhere, which is cool too.
Oh, it was fun reading one review that said, keep being weird, guys, or something like that. So
yes,
it's weird. Starting to kind of, it's like a compliment.
It's something about we're like a time traveler. Didn't quite know what year to exist in, so we just popped in and out of time or something.
Yeah.
It was like super weird stuff.
Yeah, we get some weird reviews. They're like kind of like cosmic, almost like,
it's cool.
Cosmic space traveler just ends up in an unknown world. Say like, thanks for an interesting movie afterwards. So yeah. Right. But I guess Terry, the songs you have released so far on all streaming platforms and everything, I guess like Abigail, sad song with No Name, 2025. I guess what do you normally like to delve into when you write some songs? Are you trying to tell a story, or is it meant to be some sort of conjuration of something weird happening?
So it's my lyrics can be weird, but it's based on the human condition, right? So a lot of my lyrics already going back to the 90s is like how we just got to do better. So it's a human condition, doing better, going in a bad place, and redeeming ourselves, redeeming our purpose. So it's all pretty much based around that kind of stuff. Ever since the 90s. The newer stuff, same thing. But I don't know if you check out our band page, novemberfiretheband.com. Well, the last release the single release, we're sort of developing sort of a fireverse. So I've developed this like sci-fi fantasy story that sort of kind of mirrors our own world and all our trials and our societal problems. It puts it in sort of like a science fantasy universe. And so I've actually gone back to our old songs, and our website lists all of our songs. We've had is like 80 songs or something like that. And I'm tagging them as the different planet names and if they're been conquered by the bad guys. So this is like this universe where this fastest empire is spreading across the galaxy and inspiring people on various planets to sort of turn against each other. So there's this big overall story, but then I can write little stories about one person's struggle in their mind with being a good person or being influenced by things. So it's just a wide range of stuff, but it's basically about the human condition and trying to do better. So
This is, you were like say like Empire. I don't know if you ever watched the animated series Invincible. It's kind of similar to like how that one is, where this empire is, the Viltrum Empire is like slowly trying to take over the world, but they're kind of like meant to give a little subtle sort of thing that they're trying to be there and help before they start killing everybody and trying to take it over.
I heard it's really cool, but I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Just try to check it out, but brace yourself. It's pretty gory. So.
Oh, nice.
All right. I guess let's see. I think Jim had mentioned you guys are also graphic designers here too. I guess is those still your main jobs, or I guess what sort of hobbies you guys do these days?
Yeah, I mean, we're all artists in some form. So I mean, I know Dave and I are at least employed as artists. So, but we kind of been in digital marketing.
I think we all went to art school, all three of us.
Yeah.
Well, me and Terry used to both be really into comics and stuff like that. I know Jim, you went for photography, right? Photography. So we're all visual. I used to draw a lot, and I didn't draw for many, many years. And then I bought an iPad and a pen, one of those Apple pens or something. I started drawing again, and but I find our music and our lyrics are really inspiring me to draw a lot more. So that's pretty fun doing that.
Yeah, more recently with the new album and all that stuff, all the graphics and art is Dave's drawings. It's integrated. Everything on our website is all Dave's drawings. The last couple, obviously the first albums was his drawing, but we sort of developed more of a style that, comic booky art style around his drawings. So it's coming a sort of our image a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
And Terry's been putting a lot of music videos for us together too on YouTube, and it's a nice creative process. I'll get some text messages saying of what they're looking for, for me, and it was fun. It was one time I was just playing in front of my laptop, with just air drums, but just doing it in a way that really looked like I was hitting a kit and everything like that. And when you see it all compiled together, you wouldn't know that I wasn't.
Little green screen CGI kind of going on right there too.
Yeah.
So,
Fun. Yeah.
I have a desk job, but basically I get all my creative stuff out through the band these days. I do a lot of the social media. I do the videos and put together the website. Just released it. So yeah, that keeps me busy.
Website's good. Sorry, what are you guys saying about the website, Jim?
It's fun. As I started off my career as a website, designer, and then only recently, just had some opportunities to kind of get back into helping out some people's websites, and Terry just kind of launched our website, and it's very creative, and I love it. So.
Well, thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Yes, I figured we gotta have a play button on there. It'll randomly play one of our songs as you're navigating around. Even if you change pages, it'll stop for a second, get going again. We got a list of every one of our songs. We got getting all the lyrics up there, all the recent lyrics, a lot of the older lyrics are up there now, and I'm gonna backfill as much of the lyrics as we can. We got like a history page with some old photos, which I'll put more up. We got all the different lineups we've had since the 90s. a link to our merch store. So I think it's pretty cool how it's integrated, everything. And this is, you can play a bunch of our videos on it, have it playing while you're looking around. So it was fun, and it's cool.
I guess this is kind of lead to this question right here with the whole thing of AI and social media these days, especially considering how long you guys have been around. It seems like it was quite a jump from like the 90s into the 2000s here. Then you got like Facebook and all social media stuff. So for this question, what do you guys make of AI and social media these days for part one? And then I'll fill in part two afterwards.
Well, I'll start off, since I've been thinking about this recently, is that when we first started again, 2022-ish, or into 2024-ish, I think AI was sort of new. I didn't really totally understand the scene quite yet, because I hadn't really paid attention. I just listened to random music. But when we got the band going, I started getting into it. So I used a little bit of AI imagery in the first maybe 2 videos when we first started out. But as things started to progress and we were sort of get the lay of the land a little bit more, I sort of decided that, to drop the sort of AI generated imagery and things like that, leaning heavily upon found images online, real mixing video, taking video, and his drawings and things like that. So we stayed away from AI for anything creative. Never any of our music, never any of our lyrics. Initially, was a few found images or generated images in a couple of the first videos, but nothing since.
There's a fine line too with it all. Like, obviously, real art is what you want with everything. I don't necessarily fault the band all the times for like making an AI video or something, because they might have zero budget or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not so quick to immediately dismiss like an AI generated cover or something like some other people out in the scene are and things like that. You know what I mean? But I think in general it's bad for society and things like that. AI in general, and I don't think it's going to lead to anything good. It's going to lead to about 10 trillionaires in the world, and the rest of us fighting for the scraps. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think it's good, but I think there's a fine line too with AI generation too, where I could draw everything, and then if I these tools nowadays, all these Adobe tools and things like that, they have AI integrated into it too, so you can animate things with AI really easily. And, like, is that okay if I hand draw a bunch of characters, but I use Adobe AI to animate them? Like, is that bad because I'm not paying an animator? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a gray area for sure. So the core creativity is always going to be us from that one.
It has to be human, the core creativity. You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of fun just being remote, as Dave and Terry could easily replace me with an AI drummer if they needed to.
We never do that.
But I mean, I use AI, in many aspects, of my work, and and so there's pros and cons, and with its use. But I think one thing about our music is, if you listen to it, you could tell it's not AI, because it's nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that low, right?
There's nothing polished, about our sound, and I think that we definitely have like a sort of like a rough cut kind of sound to it that you can tell that it's performed by humans, and
blood, sweat, and tears.
It's nice, and I hear like film is making a comeback in a lot of ways, just because people are into the nostalgia, of taking photographs and getting, and photographic quality can have its sort of flaws, to it. And so I think in a lot of ways of the way that people write or the way that they create everything, is that the flaws are actually starting to become our virtues, just that they show us sort of that they were created by humans and everything. And so with a lot of the copy generation and music generation, everything with AI, it's based off of proven rules, and with the way that things are supposed to be done. But now when everything's kind of put together in that perfect sense, it's just I don't know, it sounds just like everything else, and it kind of takes that character out of it. And so yeah, you can definitely tell that. I don't think AI is really producing the kind of work that we are putting out. So
I will admit to being guilty of using ChatGPT when it came to like asking for sort of advice, especially when it came to like maybe using like different applications or that sort of stuff there too. Or at least if it asked me like 4 different questions.
You build a
So,
website with it. I ask it, how do I install this electrical plug here? I say, give it a picture. Say, does these connections look good? I use it a lot now these days. It's just way too handy to not. But I think there's also a danger of us becoming a little lazy and not learning as much as we could. So I try to remind myself, I could figure that out myself a little bit.
Yes, I 100% agree. I feel like AI has made me dumb in a lot of ways. Just rather than in some design applications, and instead of like figuring it out myself, where do I go? I sometimes just ask AI, and and sometimes it wastes my time. It sends me down a rabbit hole where it's wrong, and I'm following its instructions, and I can't figure out what I'm doing and everything. And I'm like, I should just do this myself. And it was one time I was doing some design work, and I spent way too much time dabbling around with AI. I should have just did it myself, in the first place. So yeah, there's efficiency gains.
I like when AI is like, okay, this is definitely the answer. I'm like, well, but what about this? He's like, you're right, I'm wrong. How about this? And I'm like, this. He's like, yep, you're right, I'm wrong. Like, how many times can you say you're definitely right when you're wrong? So it's not perfect, so you can't rely on it totally.
I've had Claude apologize back to me several times in an English accent. So
it's like one of those Alexa sort of moments where they'd be like, I'm sorry, that whole deal. You are right. This is sort of that deal. So, but I guess even for like all you guys doing the graphic work and that sort of stuff, do you think maybe there's going to be a downward trend at first for people who work in graphic arts, and then maybe some sort of revitalization at some point?
Well,
David, I won't get laid off in this last.
It's there's definitely a downward trend for sure right now, so it's pretty tough out there, but yeah, there might be a sort of reckoning, or not, or a reskilling too of companies where these companies are going to go too far down the AI rabbit hole, but you still need experts to kind of like plug this stuff in and use the content, and you still need smart people implementing, even if you're utilizing AI in a corporate setting, you know what I mean? So you still need smart people doing it. Yeah. You can't just have somebody off the street, design a great product that a great mobile product that's user friendly that everyone's going to love. You know what I mean? So you need people plugging that stuff in. But so yeah, hopefully there'll be enough time for all my graphic design friends.
I would say Reckoning. We should definitely put that as a song title. So yeah.
You're already seeing a lot of backlash, right? So on AI all the time. So it's hitting the sort of music community and things like that, or movie, people like movies and things like that. So people are starting to backlash. So hopefully it starts hitting the corporate. I can see in a couple of years, right now you see like on the commercials it says this was AI generated. Maybe in a couple of years they'll say like this was made with real people, and that would be the positive message of these. It's
kind of like those no sugar added foods, but if you look, it's fake sugar in there.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
Not made with AI, but it was helped generate by AI.
It's funny. My daughter was putting some health labels together on some food, and she did the opposite. Instead of like listing things, it's like non-GMO or vegan, whatever like that. She basically it was like not vegan, not this, not, this is unhealthy for you. And just kind of put the opposite together. But yeah, I've seen some people are leaving like Getty watermarks or so in their images to kind of show that it was authentic. Just kind of giving some sense of proof. And what I was saying earlier, we used to touch up the flaws in a lot of photographs and everything, and so now people are tending to leave that stuff in. And so, all those nicks and scratches and stuff are starting to kind of have its place.
as my dad used to say, when my dad played guitar, he's like, "Don't cut your strings. That's the soul of the string." So gritty, sort of like, yeah, you just need scratches and dents and things. Awesome. It's like,
Yeah,
character.
you should. It's my drum set. You should.
Well, that's got a lot of character.
I got a lot of duct tape, on it, and that's part of my sound. Got a little ripple and everything, and so yeah, I like getting everything damp and dead.
Actually, we'll get to Gary just a second here too, but I think Terry, I mentioned earlier, this band, I guess, might have been on hiatus, I guess, when COVID was around. So for this question right here, I guess, first off, how bad was COVID for you guys on a personal and family level? And I guess, what were you doing music-wise at the time?
So I think we hadn't really gotten going yet.
No, we
Our
haven't.
Second time around, it was 2022ish when we started getting going again, when it was sort of fading a little bit. So we were just hunkered down in our places for a couple of years. Family wise, it was okay. I don't know. we saved a lot of money not going out to eat or going on any vacations. So there was that. But yeah, I don't think it was that hard on my family.
Yeah, I work from home anyway, so
Yeah, well, I got to work from home too. So
things didn't really change there. For band wise, we were active from like 91 till about 2004 or something. And then we had a couple sporadic get-togethers and things, and we always talked about getting stuff together, but it was really after the COVID, and we bought a townhouse the day they shut everything down. Basically, we signed on it, but I had a nice jam basement down there, so Terry would come over and we would just like jam in the basement, and I don't know, maybe COVID helped us get together a little more instead of us running
there was nothing else to do.
Because there was nothing else to do, you know what I mean?
I kind of forget a little bit. It's we've kind of moved on, a little bit, and I kind of gotten back. So yeah, I was working from home, and yeah, I don't know, nothing really changed in my approach or anything like that. And got to kind of like remember what COVID was like at the time.
Yeah, I remember the COVID. We got to work from home like 5 days a week for like a year and a half. And it's like the whole world's going to change. You're going to be able to work from home more often. And then it was like, you're coming back to the office 1 day a week, coming back 2 days a week. All right, you can work from home twice a week. Now it's 5. So it's like everything's back to normal now. So it is what it is. But yeah, it was an interesting few years for sure.
For me, since I've moved, I'm kind of, looking forward to being in an environment where I can see people in real life again, because I've been working from home for like 10 years and I'm a little isolated, here. So, but yeah, I got my drum set.
Yeah, doing the COVID, and then we started playing together, and Jim joined on, and it was the three of us. So that was great getting the band together and stuff. And then since then too, like me and Terry have been going to a lot of shows and things like that, which we've been do a lot. So we're going into Boston, and kind of like because these bands started coming around after a few years, So we'd be like, oh, Dozer's playing, So we go and things like that. So we
got to see some of those bands we've always liked that suddenly
getting out more
down there, small clubs and these cool bands like Dozer playing like what's a Widowmaker Brewery that holds like 100 people, 200 people. So going there, seeing Red Fang finally in Boston, Truck Fighters, Baroness was an amazing concert. That was great. All the shows like that. There's a couple we still want to see, but we're checking off our list.
Yeah.
So you guys saw like a bunch of concerts with bands, I guess, you grew up with, and you finally just get around to finally seeing them for the first time, or
maybe some more recent bands and things like that, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we saw a lot of bands back in the day. Like we saw Metallica on a Justice tour, that was sick, and we saw like Clash of the Titans tour with Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth, and Alice in Chains opened up.
Yeah,
stuff,
like Death Angel couldn't make the
Death Angel couldn't make it, so Alice in Chains
somebody got hurt, and they put in Alice in Chains before they got big, and it was like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, we're like, who are these guys? And they started playing Man in the Box, and I'm like, oh yeah, I heard this on the radio, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But saw a lot of bands back then, and then a big lull, you know what I mean. But I think my point was that COVID kind of like, coming out of COVID and then having these bands come out, it's like, oh, we should go check these bands out. Who knows when they're going to come around again, because they're coming over from Europe and stuff like that. And then also with the whole green card thing, and you don't know if these bands are going to ever be let back into the country or things like that. So now's a good time to go see them,
Yeah, and like, I don't know, small side stories like regret. So we didn't want to see these bands roll around. So in the early 90s, we're at college and loved Monster Magnets, like one of my all-time favorite stoner bands, right? So like we were sitting around in college, roommate comes in and says, you want to go see Monster Magnet in Boston? It's like $12.
I'll drive.
And then I don't feel like it. So didn't see them, still haven't seen them. I got tickets for one show. He had some sort of voice problem. They canceled it in Boston. They had a show that we're going to go to right before COVID hit. They canceled it, rescheduled it, and then just canceled the whole thing. So I still haven't seen Monster Magnet. So don't regret not seeing that band you really love. So get out there to that club and see them. So that was, hopefully they'll come around again someday. So,
all right. So, but on a serious note, good to see you and the families are doing well out there, boys. So keep going strong out there. So normally when I ask this question with the whole thing with like music scenes, kind of like wherever you guys are based out of, but so you guys have been around for a good bit. Obviously, you said since the 90s and maybe even the late 80s there too. But I guess from your perspective, and this is maybe like a before and after for the music scenes where you guys have played at, how's the music scenes been from your perspective, both before and after COVID?
Good question.
Yeah, I can't say that before COVID, it sort of just lived in my bubble, listened to my stuff online, on streaming and things like that. I didn't get out to see many shows, so wasn't totally, and like again, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was so insular. It was like you go to a club, 20 people show up and they're from down the street, so didn't really get around that much to experience as enough of the music culture. More lately, and when we got back into it, sort of like seeing all this stuff online and going to these local shows, it's just sort of like a very niche, thriving doom sort of community, which is pretty cool. But we haven't played out since 2004, maybe. So we've been practicing a lot, and I think we're up to snuff. We sound pretty good, I think. So when we can get together, we'll try to get into some shows. And like you mentioned earlier, we've been practicing at this place called Terminus. It's in Nashua. They got a little rental space that we can practice in there, and they do a lot of local shows, doing bands even, and some old thrash and hardcore stuff. So we're going to hope to get in there at some point. But there's some clubs around here, like the Chesky, and some other clubs and places I've seen other bands that I've connected with through Instagram and stuff like that. I know played shows around here, so we're hoping to get a little bit more into that by playing out a few times.
Yeah, it's been crazy too. Like you go to these shows now, like. I was saying when we saw Metallica back in '89 or '88 or whatever, like it was an arena full of people like screaming every word, you know what I mean? And then we saw the Sword last year, and it was funny because it was like 5,000 people there, 3,000 to 5,000, a couple thousand people maybe. Yeah. But like people are like yelling the words every song, just like we were, you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, I don't even like I know the songs, but I don't think I know one lyric. Yeah. But it's like, wow, I can't believe people know like every word of the songs and they're yelling at them. So. It's like, or like when we saw Truck Fighters, like they came out and they jammed one song and everybody was like joking around, like, yeah, they're playing the song, like, you know what I mean? And
it's like, where are these people in my everyday life? They've had a couple hundred or 1,000 people and they like the Sword. It's like, I've never seen anybody in my regular life that likes the Sword. Yeah. It's like, where did these people packing the Paradise in Boston come from? So it's cool. They're out there. Just gotta find them.
You gotta find them.
Or go to the shows and then you find them.
I lived in Boston. I'd spent a lot of time in there, and it was Central Square, and it was a popular club for many years called the Middle East, and there was TT the Bear's place, and that's where you saw a lot of really good underground bands that weren't filling up stadiums, but saw like bands like Mogwai and Explosions in the Sky, and so not as heavy as like what we're playing, but definitely had that kind of group, that kind of space that put you in a trance, kind of a jammy kind of music and everything. So those are good clubs to hang out in, kind of the Brighton, Cambridge music scene, and
Yeah, I
Massachusetts.
never want to go to an arena or like a Great Woods again. It's just like I like these little clubs with like a couple hundred people. It's just great. Get in, get out, see them, get close, really loud.
It's fun to love like after the show or so. You can be able to get up close and get a good look at the band's gear, see what they're using for pedals and everything. Where you can't really do it at a huge show, and so it's kind of fun. You're like, oh, they're using the Fuzz Factory, and it's
Definitely.
Let's see. I forget what band we saw, Dave, in Chicago. We were on a business trip together, and it just so happened this band that we were.
Acid King, it was.
Acid King?
Yeah.
That's who it was. Okay. Yeah.
We were at a conference. I'm like, hey, Acid King is playing like right down the street. You want to?
I thought it was fun. We ended up talking to the singer, and I was telling her how I had just discovered her music. I had a Melvin's Pandora station, and they come up all the time, and I'm like, I really love the Melvins. I really love you, and then Dave told me like, hey, she was actually married to like the singer of the Melvins, something like that. Or so I'm like, I had no idea. Wow.
That's an interesting couple right there. So, all right. But it's good to see the music scene is doing well out there too. So keep going strong there, boys.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can jump into the fun topic of gear. So I guess we just want to start with Terry, Dave, and then Jim, and then just do it that way? Or whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
I had a couple cheap basses when I first started out. And one of my friends came by and says, "Hey, I got this bass. You want this?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I bought it off him. It's a Fender Jazz bass from the early mid '90s, and I've had it ever since. Probably got it in '93ish, '94ish, and I still have it right over there. So, and I brought it in actually last year. I'm like, things a little banged up. Still works great. Electronics are okay. I went to get it cleaned up, but I'm like, how much would you give me for this? Well, I could trade it in, maybe get a new one. The guy looked at me, played it. He's like, "I wouldn't trade this in." So, so I got it. And just late last year, I got an Orange Terror bass head and a Mark bass cabinet. So in the old days, I used to have a big Gallon Kruger cabinet with this PV, I think 400 musician head, which I loved. It had so much fuzz in it. It had a chorus and a reverb and all this stuff. I'd sit there and I'd punch the thing in the middle of a song so it would crash and sound like an alien spaceship crashing. But that got old and beat up, and I had sold it when I moved. So they're hard to find. But this Orange Terror sounds pretty good, and I got a new pedal, a Big Muff Deluxe fuzz pedal, which I run through. So I don't have a huge pedal board, but I got my fuzz and I got my big cabinet.
Yeah, I use a Fender Strat. I've been playing those for a long time, and
Just the Fender Strat.
well, they're common. Everybody's got one.
The Hendrix, that's like a white one.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a Hendrix Model 1, and it's got like the reverse headstock and stuff, which is cool. And I got I used an orange Micro Dark, one of those little lunchbox amps, but and I have a old Trace LA speaker I just run it through, which is plenty loud for now. I might have to upgrade the sound at some point, the noise level, but use that and just a wah pedal, just a Dunlop wah.
Lots of wah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, since we haven't played out yet, or have played out a lot, it basically has been what's going to sound good going into where we use Reaper to record.
Yeah.
Tracking and things like that. I had this little 25 watt Fender bass amp when we started jamming at the practice space. I'm like, I need to upgrade. So that's when I'm getting the Orange and the Mark bass cabinet. So now I'm plenty loud. I can get louder than Dave if I want.
Yeah, that's yeah. But yeah, the little Orange amp does good for now.
Yeah, no, so, it's crazy what that puts out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you jam in a 10 by 10 room or something, you know what I mean? It's plenty loud.
Plenty.
This is a Pearl Export. That I've had this, I guess, since high school. I started off with I had a Gretsch that I don't know. It was class. It was beat up, but it was like a vintage set, and I ended up selling it, at one point. But this has been my main set, and I have a another tom, for it, but I've been playing as a 4-piece, for a while. I just think that it's kind of fun when you remove the option of a head and forces you to be a little bit more creative. So, growing up a metal drummer and seeing Lars with a big full set double bass, I've been much more of a minimalist. And same thing. I've been a single bass drummer. I used to play double bass, but I don't know. Hey, at one point, I think I got criticized, for my double bass playing, and I just decided to hone in on single bass. So I really loved John Stanier of Helmet. He was kind of one of the first metal bands that I remember where it was a single bass drum style, and Rage Against the Machine as well. So I ended up trying to hone in my craft of being a single bass player, and really just have 2 crashes, so a 16, an 18, get a ride there, and just in 14-inch hi-hats, all Zildjian. I use Evans coated heads for everything. So I love the dry sound of just a coated head. So, and I put a lot of duct tape on stuff, and muffle. You can see I got little pillows in there, and you can see some pink ribbons coming out from behind the heads. I removed the bottom heads off of the drums, so I don't have it sounding like bongos or anything. Just everything's just a real deep, dead sound, and that's the way I like it. Hopefully it records well.
Okay, speaking of which, are you guys DIY when it comes to recording, or is this someone going to help you out with putting the sound together?
Yeah, 100% DIY. So
We record all through Reaper tracks. Like I'll sit there and do my bass tracks, send them over to him. He'll do his drums, send them over to him, and he'll do his magic.
yeah, everything's 100% on our own. He records the drums. Jim records in the basement. I record on the kitchen counter. A lot of times, I get a little cart I roll out that has my gear on it. I can get set up in about a minute and start recording. Terry does his vocals in his car.
Yeah, I'm in a condo, so I can't exactly start screaming in the condo. Not screaming, but singing really loud. So I bring my little recording kit, and I find a quiet parking lot somewhere, and I sit in my car. I even get a clamp for my microphone and clamp it to the emergency brake, so it's nice right here. So I do my recording in the car for my vocals. But he does all the magic. He mixes everything. Me and Jim complain, say, do this, do that, do more of this, do more of that, and he goes, yeah. But I got him a shirt called Dave the Magician because all the magic that he does with the recordings is pretty awesome.
Yeah, we mix and master ourselves and everything. So
yeah,
and this is the key to. This is the magic that makes remote work.
Yeah. We got these drums.
Porky site. They're using the Scarlet.
Yeah,
Scarlet 2i2. Yeah, I've seen those ones advertised a good bit.
Yeah, so that's what's you get 2 mics usually just set up, and it's kind of fun, balancing it all out, and mixing with the levels, and I'll send them to Dave, and sometimes I'll tell me I'm redlining a little bit in the song, and sometimes I do a good track and it just comes out all fuzzy, and and it can be interesting if I'm playing more hi-hat or if I'm playing more ride. It can kind of change the outcome a little bit of the track. So just try and keep an eye on that.
I would say too quiet I can work with. So too loud, it's cooked. You know what I mean? So if it's too quiet, I can always make it louder. You know what I mean?
And so just recording this stuff, it's just you don't realize how different it sounds from one headphone to another headphone to one car to another car to the phone speaker I get these earbuds that have extra bass in them. I think it sounds amazing. I go sit in my car. I'm like, where's the bass? So it's that's definitely a big challenge of recording, is making it sound good in as many different setups as possible.
Yeah, but there's definitely a huge. I find a huge advantage to doing DIY too, because you're not under that pressure. so you're sacrificing the sound. So when we first started, I'm like, if I could get 80% of what like some of these bands sound like, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? And you might be sacrificing a little sound, but what you're getting is, all the time you want to be creative and get it right. You know what I mean? And doing things your way. We went to a studio once and did a demo like in 1996 or something, and we had the songs down pat and practiced, and we went in there and we just had a bad day. And you know what I mean?
You got a couple hours, and that's your money.
We had a couple hours. We had a bad day. Came out like crap, pretty much. You know what I mean? And doing it yourself just affords a lot in terms of creativity. At a sacrifice of a little bit of sound, but not too bad.
And just like an example, I know the vocals for Abigail took me months to get where I wanted it. Layering, singing rough, singing light, singing higher, lower, doing backing vocals, singing slightly different, and it took me months to get happy with it. So I guess I could spend that time then going to the studio, but it's like I'm creating this, we're listening to it, we're mixing it, I'm like I'm not happy with going back and forth, until I actually get happy. Since I layer a lot of tracks, it becomes it's like a painting, right? So you're just painting, you got all these layers, and you just got to get it just right. You just keep painting until you got that depth, and until you're happy with it. But yeah, it could take me a long time to get my vocal arrangements the way I want. I mean, what am I going to do? How many months am I going to wait? I'm going to go right into the studio and bang it out, and won't be happy with it later, right? So it's like we can go forever until I'm happy. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
Until we're all happy. So
there's definitely a pride too of doing it yourself too. You know what I mean? Like I like a lot of those old punk bands, like I said, like and things like that. But there's definitely a DIY ethos that I look up to in a way. You know what I mean? Even a lot of newer bands, I'd rather listen to a band that like plugs something away on their basement. It might not sound great, but you know what I mean? But there's a lot of spirit behind it, as opposed to something that somebody went in with Rick Rubin and overprocessed that, and it becomes sterile after a while. There's a lot of bands that sound exactly the same, and things like that. So I'd rather have a little bit of personality and things like that.
Jose, who's got the dog?
I was wondering if you could hear the dog.
What's her or his name? I can't remember.
Thankfully, the dogs don't come up in my recordings, so.
That'd be funny if it did. It would be like, ooh, just put that in there.
It's a thing here. I got the whole room, so I gotta record the room with the drums, and I'll put my earbuds in so I can hear their music. And it's hard, when you're playing the drums and it overpowers the music you're listening to. And so I'll put the earbuds in and I put the noise canceling on. And I'll play, and then I could barely hear my drums, but I know what I'm doing. It really like dampens it down. And then my earbud will slip off inside, and I'm hearing half sound, and it's like I know the song, and I'm like going along with it, and I just gotta like finish the track. And
that was your best track.
Sometimes it's like it's really coming out well, but things fall out and everything, and you get them in, and I got to try and record when no one's home. And my daughter was home one day, and I told her I'm going to be recording, so I can't have you coming downstairs and say anything. And of course, she likes to anyway. So she came downstairs, and I'm like playing. I'm like right in the middle of the song, and she's holding up pieces of paper for me to like read. Telling me, I'm going to use the stove. And just, I'm going, and I'm like trapped, in the middle of a nine song. I'm trying to get that down.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, the dogs typically don't like the drums, so they usually head upstairs for.
Yeah.
I see why. But I can make an interesting blooper right there, especially as we crossed over an hour mark right now.
Wow.
So,
I'm like, how does this take so long? I'm like, oh, it's disappeared already.
Yep. Actually, I do have one more question before we jump into some extra fun ones, but it does delve into challenges. And maybe perhaps we haven't kind of highlighted it throughout this interview here. But I guess whoever wants to answer it, because I don't know if it's just going to be a one sort of answer right here too. But what challenges do you feel like you face these days being musicians and part of this group, November Fire?
Well, I think a challenge nowadays is, the internet, the whole internet and social media and all these bands out there is double-edged, where it's easy to get yourself heard, but it's kind of hard to get yourself heard at the same time, where things are fleeting a lot. So like if you don't, after a week, something's out, people move on to the next 10 albums that are released, and there's just so much out there that it's how do you get through? How do you break through? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lot of bands. Did I know there were this many bands? There were so many bands. So it's like, you put out something cool, but you get a few likes and you're like 18 other bands had something out the same day or something. It's like, 300. I know it's amazing how many bands are out there. So many good ones too. It's just like it's pretty crazy. So I run a playlist on Spotify and YouTube that I talk and I network and I get underground bands that send me their tracks. And I put this Spotify playlist and I update it every 2 weeks. So I got to meet a lot of bands through that. So I'll social media, like here's 10 new underground bands, and I mix it with a lot of more well-known stuff. So it's sort of like just helped me see how many bands are out there. It's just amazing. I've kept track of the last almost 2 years of how many other bands I have this master playlist on Spotify, and it's like almost 400 bands. So they're like 10, 15 a week for 2 years, and it's just new ones all the time. So it's mind blowing. Yeah, it's hard to get. It's way more easy to get your stuff out there than it used to be, but it seems like it's definitely hard to get any attention. So, but unfortunately, we have like a community. Like our genre is super niche. Like Dave was saying, somebody put together this sort of like hip hop rap track and put it out there. There's like 80,000, 100,000 views or something. It's like, oh my god, we got 200. but our niche is so small, but it's really, really sort of a pretty tight knit community. So it's like a Doom charts sort of universe. And everybody coming off that with the content creators and old bands that sort of go back and forth, play with each other, post social media wise. So luckily we have a sort of a supportive and cohesive genre to exist within and feel like we're doing something cool. So.
What's the biggest challenge that we face? So.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You went on such a big tangent. I forgot what I was even talking about. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, Terry and Dave, I think my challenge, it's really just like been finding the time. So they're waiting on me often to get some drum tracks over. But a lot of times the opportunity for me to record, is in the middle of the day when, my wife's at work, my daughter's at school, and no one's here, and I can make a lot of noise and stuff. But at the same time, that's like when I need to get work done, too. Yeah. So and trying to carve out that time. So, and usually when I do it, it's pretty easy, and it's just like, why didn't I just do this before? But just getting the equipment all set up and ready to go and ready to play and everything, and then just getting sweaty in the middle of the day after playing. Our music is a workout, so it's fun. I'll do about like 4 tracks or something, and next thing you know, as my hands are all wet and everything, and I only get the earbuds are slipping out and everything, so it's a workout for me.
Yeah, I was saying earlier.
Let's try to show the blister right here. So.
Time is the time for this, because it's a hobby, right? It's a hobby. We don't expect to become famous and tour or anything. We want to get a good, have established a decent presence online, and maybe have something lasting that we can put out there after a few years of work. Be cool about it, but yeah, it's definitely a hobby. So yeah, finding the time is one of the challenges for sure.
Again, it's fun. It's creative, and we're kind of doing it because it's fun, and I love that we have like recordings, and this something out there intangible. That is just like we did this, and my daughter is like real proud. She tells everyone that her dad's in a band, and it's fun that it's so accessible. With the videos up on YouTube, and next thing you know, I'll get like a text message from someone that's like, hey, we're checking out your music, like right now, like we heard about it through so and so, and it's it's fun, but yeah, my daughter's like a promoter. And she's like, my dad's in a band called November Fire, and we'll go to a restaurant and she'll tell me on it.
That's good to hear. So be able to go work there and make sure to make everyone proud there too. So, all right. So boys, we're briefly the questions here pretty good. So let's jump into some extra fun ones. Ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we still go the same order here too with Terry, Dave, and Jim. But for the first question, I guess what would you consider your favorite food?
Pizza, tacos, chicken fingers. Sorry, was that 3?
Technically yes, but if you're doing a mix in one, is it that sort of deal?
Yeah, kids' food, but yeah, yummy. I like a good chicken finger.
Let's say my favorite's probably like steamed clams, probably. So
And sausage.
steamed clams and butter.
Yes.
I got a nice breakfast sandwich while I was on the call here, but I got bacon, egg, and cheese on rye, and yeah, I was waiting for it, and it came up late, and had this. I was trying to eat it before our call and everything like that, but I love a good breakfast sandwich.
He was leaving off camera a couple times. He was like,
Yep.
so,
I was like, sorry, I'm like looking at this food, and it's all cold right now, but
Yeah.
Terry's talking again. I got 5 minutes.
How about you, Brian? What's your favorite food?
Yeah.
I'm a burger and pizza guy. So
Yeah.
mostly burgers, if anything, there too, because I ate a good bit when I was on my recent trip to Iceland. So
Wow.
Wow.
I guess that's. I'd have to ask. I guess if there was one place you wanted to travel in the world, I guess what would it be?
Jim, you go first.
oh, I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of fortunate that I've been able to travel and see a lot of cool cities and national parks and everything. But I don't know. A place that I haven't been to, which I'd like to check out. I don't know. I can't really think right now. Because
I always wanted to go to Japan. I thought that
Oh,
would be
you
cool.
stole
yeah,
it.
yeah. I guess Japan.
Yeah.
My daughter talks about it. She wants us to go to Japan, so I guess Japan.
All right, we're all Japan.
Japanese tour,
Want to go to the Godzilla hotel.
2027.
Mhm.
We see Big G and all those boys there. And so yeah,
Probably have a big fan base there, something like that.
Huge in Japan. Right?
I mean, that's where it started. So yeah, it would make sense they would have a big fan base. So
How about you?
I have been fortunate to travel, so I've seen a good bit. So recently, Iceland, that was pretty nice. It would have been nice if we saw the Northern Lights, but unfortunately, that doesn't come to like more winter time. Japan's definitely on the list. I think there's one trip that'll actually get you all the way to Seoul, South Korea, too.
Ooh, that's
So,
cool. Yeah.
Greece, I think would be another one to also see. I think it also gets you like some of the island stops right there before it stops in Istanbul.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. There's so much to see. So
Yeah. Yeah. there is.
you got to take it 1 year at a time, to be honest. So we'll see what happens. But I'll list those two with Japan, with a little bit of Korea, and then Greece, maybe with Istanbul in it next too.
Yeah.
3-week
Okay.
trip. You can do it all at once.
That would be nice. I don't know if my work would allow me to do more than 2 weeks, to be honest. So, all right, let's see. But all great choices there. I guess in terms of movies and TV shows, I guess you guys got a particular favorite between the two categories?
Well, my favorite movie of all time is Godzilla -1. I think that's like the best movie I ever saw. So going back to the Japan thing. But I like a lot of sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars stuff. I'm always watching that stuff. And I like a lot of horror movies too. And things like that.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember as an experience the first time. I remember being blown away by The Matrix, not knowing what it was when I went into that theater for the first time, and just coming out like, what the hell was just that? That was amazing. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. Before Lord of the Rings came out, the first trilogy, loving the fantasy stuff, there wasn't much out there that was actually very good. So when I went to see the Lord of the Rings, I didn't expect much, and I came out of it going, oh my god. Hope I get to see all these before I'm gone, It was like, so those are two big experiences that were, wow.
I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. So love the whole catalog. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think is my favorite of what he's done. But Pulp Fiction and everything. I love True Romance that he wrote. The thing about it, I love the dialogue that the characters that he creates and everything. And yeah, that's Tarantino's my favorite.
Believe it or not, the research trip I was on in Iceland, it was actually a little small cruise, so we were able to travel to different parts of Iceland.
Yeah.
And one of the nights was a little bit of dance night. I actually took my shoes off and started dancing to one of the songs there too. Kind of doing bits in Vegas, little move style he did with the Pulp Fiction scene there.
It was my wife and I. That was our wedding dance. Was that Jackrabbit Slims? It was a Chuck Berry song there. Couldn't I don't know. The old folks never could tell or something. Yeah, Never Can Tell, I think is the name of the song. But yeah, I did the John Travolta dance. I took our shoes off and twisting my foot, everything. It was fun. Recreate that scene.
That's for sure. All right, great choices. And for last fun questions, I guess we've listened to a good bit, regardless if they're mainstream or independent artists.
I've been listening to Monolord a lot. It's a doom band.
Yeah, a couple cool, because I do that playlist. A couple cool things I'm gonna come across, like this band called Dial Like Gentlemen.
Yeah,
It
that's
just
a good one.
ended, but they have like one of the best songs I ever heard. Just,
Yeah, they're really good.
Ordos has an amazing song, a couple songs. I'm just been finding random bands where they just, like Ancients with Two Eyes had some cool stuff. They have a song called Giants, which is one of my all-time favorite songs now. It's like, in this world of streaming, it doesn't end up for me being like, oh, this ends up being, well, this is an amazing song. If they have a couple amazing songs, this is an amazing song. So, like Red Fang, they get some amazing songs. Like Prehistoric Dog and Wires is just all-time favorites of mine. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm way behind on my I got a Bandcamp. I read all the blogs and stuff, and I put everything on my wish list that I need to check out. But I'm probably 50 bands behind there this year, so I got to catch up for the year for sure.
So much music out there, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Just I had mentioned that Melvin's Pandora Station. And that's discovered some of my favorite bands. You mentioned Red Fang, Monolord, Electric Wizard. Comes up there, Baroness. So I've really been discovering those. It's kind of like in between Slayer and Melvin's. So and kind of get like a list of there's a range of these bands that come up. I love it's like nostalgic about thrash metal. So the big four, and I've really been listening to Anthrax a lot lately. They were kind of the big four band that I didn't know as much, and so getting acquainted with everything that they've done before. But then even just like so many years later, I've like discovered Testament and Exodus and Death Angel, and it's just been kind of fun to rediscover thrash metal all these years later. But of course, I live with I got my wife and my daughter, here, and so we listen to a lot of Taylor Swift as well.
And speaking of thrash stuff, I mean, it's amazing. Like I was turning around one day and like Overkill, it was a couple of years ago. Overkill put out a new album. What? So the last couple of albums of theirs have been killer. So it's like it's still going like 20, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And Testament just came out with another album coming out. It's killer. It's like these guys are still doing it, doing the same thing. They haven't evolved into something weird that I don't like anymore. They're still killing it like what I used to like. So
I like David Ellefson of Megadeth's original bass player. I think he's in Metal Church right now, and he's playing. So that's fun. I've been following him so Megadeth is on their like final tour, and everyone's kind of craving for a reunion. But if you follow David Ellefson, he's been he played music with Chris Poland and Jeff Young, who are two of the guitar players that never crossed paths before in Megadeth, but now he's playing with them. I just saw a photo with oh geez, was it Chuck? It was the drummer that was on the So Far So Good So What album, but they kind of reunited with him.
Oh.
And it's, I think, was it Gar Samuelson and Nick Menza, the drummers from Megadeth, have passed. So this guy's. It's kind of fun seeing some of the original, members all hanging out without Dave Mustaine. So Marty Friedman and everything, and so David Ellefson's been kind of carrying the torch, I think, for almost the Megadeth nostalgia. So I would love to see, as the tour comes to a conclusion, if they're able to kind of reunite past members of Megadeth and just kind of get them all for a little reunion show or something.
That'd be nice. I don't know if there's still any bad blood between the former members and Dave Mustaine, so it remains to be seen. It would be nice. So let's see what happens.
Yep.
So, all right. So, I guess, boys, we've down to one more question right here on the podcast. I guess before we jump into it, would you like to ask me anything real quick? We'll do one question apiece.
So you're a drummer, right? So what do you do musically yourself?
I get more into the heavier metals. So this year I kind of got into Morbid Angels, Altars of Madness, Deicide, Scars of the Crucifix. I'm doing Immolations, Failures for Gods, but that's brewing to be a bit of a hard one right there too. Even the songs they probably didn't play like a whole lot live. So yeah, it's mostly into the heavy death metal sort of stuff right there too.
Yeah.
A couple classic rock ones at the beginning of the year. So
listen to Death back in the day.
I do. Well, I came a lot later. I was with 90s Kid, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. That might have been Leprosy, but my dad never really got to like the heavy death metal stuff, so I didn't know about Death.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, way later until after Chuck had long since passed. So, so I know of them. So
when we were doing dishes, I used to do dishes at a restaurant, and I bought the Leprosy album when it came out, and I had it playing in the back doing the dishes. And my boss came in, and he's like, "What are you listening to?" And we looked at him, and we said, "This is death metal." It was just funny.
Wasn't impressed.
Wasn't impressed.
I think it's
get the
funny.
holy water out. So, yeah.
Years ago, it used to be like, people like, how are you in the Metallica? Like, I can't understand, what they're playing. And then death metal, came out, and it was like, I can't understand what they're saying or what they're playing. And it's like, now it's like clear to me. And, it's just like, music's just that it used to be, it felt like chaos. And now it's, it's easy listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comes naturally. So yeah.
Okay, so one question for you. What do you do for work?
My main job is mainly in accounting. Normally, it's funny. Every time I come back after a vacation, I feel like I have an epiphany about something I want to do. So it would be nice to at least get this podcast rolling, at least in a direction where it could be like a secondary job at some point.
Cool.
So that's what I did.
We don't have much for you, but we're going to advertise the hell out of it when it comes out. So we'll try to get you a few followers.
Yeah. So definitely get the YouTube thing rolling there too. But I also want to get my Patreon page rolling.
Yeah.
See where that could go at least. But that's with other people in the music industry, publicists, conductors, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So see where that goes. But fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Good luck to you.
All right.
Cool.
Where are you located, and how did you discover us?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
born and raised, Steel City. So quite by accident, really. It was just on Facebook. It was one of the few times Facebook proved itself useful. And I stumbled upon your band page on Facebook there, and I just decided to reach out. At that point, it was 50-50 if you guys wanted to come on, because I take a little bit of a proactive approach. And I don't know how many, if you guys have ever done any interviews in your life, whether with this band or with other groups, but I figured it's a nice platform to help people out. So
Yeah. We super appreciate it. So actually, this is our first band interview.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we've been an entertaining crew, but we appreciate. Yeah, Facebook. I put everything on Facebook, but it doesn't really get much going on there. that Instagram, we mostly live on Instagram. I put everything on Facebook, but Instagram seems to be where we get the most traction.
That's what they say. So I might have to start using the Instagram part right there too. So, all right.
It's fun. I'm in Rochester, New York. I'm closer to you than I am to them right now. I think you're about 4 hours away from me.
Pittsburgh is on the far western half of PA there too. So,
yeah, I'm in Western New York. I'm near Buffalo.
You're near Buffalo. Okay, yeah, you're about 4 hours. So yeah, okay. Sorry, got a little mixed up there too. How about you're closer to New York City, to be honest? So. Right.
I'm Jim Kelly, and I live near Buffalo. So,
oh, why didn't I even think of that?
But it's like, oh God, another Kelly out of Buffalo. So yeah,
Jim Kelly in Buffalo, yeah. And you're talking about equipment, too. And I think Dave had introduced me to Jim Kelly amps at one point too. So it's fun. So yeah, kind of famous, huh?
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. No deal.
It'll take me a while to kind of rise up in the ranks of my namesake.
Just don't blow it in the Super Bowl. I think everyone in the Buffalo knows the heartbreak years of four straight Super Bowls.
I like to refer to myself as 4-time AFC champion.
Good enough. So, all right. Was there anything else before we jump to the last question? It was okay we jump into it.
No, we appreciate getting the opportunity to talk to you, and hopefully we're entertaining enough to interview. So I didn't realize that it was like an hour and a half. I watched a couple of years. I'm like, how are we gonna get through an hour and a half? Well, it happened. So
it helps having 3 people in the mix here too. So yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. But if something else, here's how the last question goes. And Terry, you can go first. So given the amount of negativity you've been seeing going on in the world these days, both through the news and social media, that sort of stuff, these days, people need some sort of hope out there. So what would be your message of hope for musicians and people out there so that they can move forward with their lives?
Don't get too dragged into the news because you got to live your everyday life anyway. So live for today. Plan your best for tomorrow, and don't worry about so much of the past. Just make the best of every day, because that's what we got. You got one shot at this. Enjoy it, right? So, and historically, things usually come around in circles. So we're in a dark time now, I think, and it should come around again. Now, my father saw a lot of chaos in the '60s. These things come and go, but live every day. You can always it can always get better.
Yeah. I guess I would say, stay informed, what's going on out there. It's really depressing, to me, to like look at the news and stuff a lot of times and just see how people act or talk to each other or things like that. And it's sad to me, but, like Terry said, you gotta still enjoy your life and, do what you can. Every little victory is a step forward. Mm-hmm. So hopefully a lot of the country wakes up soon, or the world even, and to what's been
stay informed while managing your mental health. Yes.
And hopefully we're at the verge of a great renaissance, maybe.
Yes. November Fire leading the way.
Just kind of echo a little, what they're saying too, is taking things day by day. I do enjoy seeing what's happening in the news, and there's a lot of stuff, with AI, conversations, everything, and I've kind of got my own personal situation, too, of navigating work, and it's I've kind of been living in a challenging times, feeling it and stuff, myself and stuff, and so waking up and fighting. Kind of, every day, and just, giving yourself a chance and some hope, That's it. But 2025, we made it. It's 2026.
Yes. We survived.
Somehow made it.
Don't let 2025 happen in the future, right? How about you? What do you think about every day on this topic? Or maybe not every day, but do you think about this in general? Like, what is your, how do you put a positive spin on this?
first off, I always like to quote Tarantino for you guys, but spoke like a bunch of true prodigies for one thing. But to answer your question, normally I just tend to go about it here too, because the dudes is going to do what they're going to do because that's what they're paid to do. So unfortunately, you have to deal with them being upset about this and that because they don't align with perhaps their perspective. The thing is, the majority of people are good people out there, and they're perhaps more in the center with some things here and there too. Then they'll lean sort of either left or right based on like maybe some sort of topics that come up here and there too. So music has definitely been one of the things I think that really brings people together, usually regardless of the genre. So I would say the music keeps it going. So needless to say the least. Because at the end of the day, all music matters in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So other than that, I just ignore it as best I can, to be honest. So
You got to balance it a bit. Yeah.
pretty much.
Who am I?
All right. Good.
I find that interesting with metal music too. I mean, it's pretty. You get a diverse amount of people that come from different viewpoints that appreciate it, and so it is nice when music is a unifier, and brings people together, and you can kind of take your mind off of some of the topics and stuff that are out there, and you can kind of all be together and celebrate, and you can see how we're unified in a lot of different ways, and then you start talking about your political differences and you're like, whoa. But,
It's like this World Cup thing. I'm not a big soccer fan, but like my wife's really into it now, and you're watching it, and just so much positivity flowing through the TV set with all these fans and the people taking over Boston and the Tartan Army. It's just so much positivity going on right now with this World Cup. It's a good thing. I think it feels healthy what's going on right now with this World Cup. So that's cool.
That's for sure there too. So, all right. So boys, we have reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked a little over an hour and 30 some minutes, but I guess before we close out, who do you want to give any shout outs to?
I'll give a shout to Terry and Jim for working on the music with me. I really appreciate it. It's always been a dream of mine to like get this stuff recorded and sort of be like a semi big hobbyist / working band kind of. So I know it's not working and making money, but couldn't do it without you guys. And
I'll say the same thing, but I'm going to throw a plug in for Stoner Totem magazine out on Instagram. He does great video reviews of this genre. He's done some great things of ours. Good Boy PR, which we use, helps us promote our stuff on Instagram and various places. He's a contributor on Doom Charts. People like Outlaws of the Sun and Monuments for Ruin. There's some good stuff there too. So a couple plugs.
A shout out, I guess, Terry and Dave, but I guess in particular Dave, we had worked together. We kind of have a very similar experience, and we've been kind of through the job rat race together a lot recently, and we still chat online every day. And so it's not just about music and everything, but it's just look forward to our check-in, and just even it's just a couple lines of text, and and recently we get a group chat on SMS. We all kind of like write to each other, but it's it's fun to have this, and enjoy working with them, and have some more visits coming out soon.
All right. Yeah, just real quick, what social media and streaming platforms are you guys on so people can check out your music and interact?
We have a website now, NovemberFireTheBand.com. You can get through all of our social media through there. Like I said earlier, it's got a lot of a pile of information about us. We're majorly on Instagram. We got Facebook. We got LinkedIn. We don't really do TikTok or Twitter. We're also on Threads, but it's majorly Instagram and our new website. You can get anywhere you want to go.
And we're on Bandcamp,
Forgot about that one.
Spotify. We're on all the platforms, Spotify and all the whatever else there is, Amazon
If you want some yum codes for Bandcamp, just send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll give you a free download code. You know, we're not in it to make money. We're into to spread it out as much as possible. On Bandcamp, it's name your price. Take it
Yeah,
for
all
free.
stuff
Give
is
us
free.
$1. Give us $10,000. Whatever you want. Just want to get it out there to whoever wants to listen to it. So free.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. All right, sounds good. So we have to close out like this real quick. So everyone, my guests today were Terry, Dave, and Jim. They're part of the band November Fire. Jim Taylor from Rochester, New York, right there. But we also got Terry and Dave up there in New Hampshire. So make sure you go hit them on all socials, all streaming platforms. Let's go support our brothers out there so they can continue to make music, as well as get out to some shows, hopefully, sometime in the future. So, boys, thank you guys so much again for coming on here. So, y'all stay safe, because you know there's one pretty fucked up world out there. Rock on.
Thank you
Lastly,
very much.
Thank you so much.
wait, strike a pose for the cameras real quick. Stay tuned, y'all.